Hello and welcome back to ESC Fan TV. We have another great day and another great interview. It's time to say yes, because we have Ben and Tanne from the Dansk Melodi Grand Prix. Hello.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
Great.
We're okay.
Yeah.
We're out at the Danish Motorsport Awards.
Yeah, doing a sound check.
Yeah,
it's great.
It's a lot of fun.
That sounds exciting. How are the rehearsals going for the big show on the 7th of March?
It's going well. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, we only had one so far, but everyone seems very nice and very professional, so it's going great.
Some of the really most hardworking people. A couple familiar faces from XFactor as well, which is nice.
It's very nice, comfortable.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting. So it's a bit like a reunion for some of it as well.
Yeah.
A
little bit.
That's fun. So, I mean, of course, don't spoil too much, but can you tell us a little bit about what we can expect from your stage show in Royal Arena?
Yeah, we're gonna try to make it as much of a party as we possibly can.
Yeah.
I think we're there for obviously the people behind the TV, but also the people in the room. I think are gonna have
the main point is to make it just a party where everyone's invited.
Yeah.
And because yes is a happy song that you should scream. Mm-hmm. So the point is to make everyone in the room scream yes. So everything's gonna be it's gonna be very festive colors, very festive choreography, everything.
That sounds very fun. We've talked about here on the show that we think it's the kind of song where the whole arena can just get up and sway and have some fun. So it's nice to hear that that's the kind of vibe you're going for.
Absolutely, that's the
point.
point.
A lot of that stuff, I've played so many of these where people are super polite, they just sit and listen.
Yeah.
And they're it's so great to have the opportunity to play in a place like Royal Arena where people are can you hear that out there?
Yeah.
Someone just went off. Yeah, well, the point is to make everyone scream yes. So that's great that people actually are getting that already.
Yeah, that sounds really great. I'm very excited to see it now. So, I mean, let's just start by going a year back. Obviously, you were both on the XFactor here in Denmark, and I hope this works today. We've had some problems with StreamYard, but I have a little clip that I would like to show you and to show all the viewers for those who aren't from Denmark and haven't been following the XFactor. So it's a little trip down memory lane we have here.
Sometimes moms and dads fall out of love, sometimes two homes are better than one. Some things you can't tell your sister cause she's still too young. Yeah, you'll understand. Wonder why you're alone at night when they're up on you. You know I try, but you won't call me back, so I just stay quiet.
Oh shit.
Right on the beat. Nice.
When was the last time you saw those clips? Because it's been almost a year since this was on TV.
I mean, my mom still sees them every day, so she still watches it. She has it recorded on her little TV box, and she still watches it.
Yeah, I mean, I only ever it's kind of weird to admit that I would record the live shows every night before going out, and then go home and watch it with my family, sort of pick out all the mistakes that I and my contestants made,
and the good parts,
and
the good parts.
The good parts that I hope were there. But that live show was very relaxed, actually. There wasn't a lot of pressure on that type particularly, but from there, I remember, that was the first time I was kind of okay, this is really happening. Now I'm sort of really realizing what it was I signed myself up for, and it was a lot of fun. It was really great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can remember. What was it like? It was the first time being there on live television in front of the whole of Denmark. What was it like to take part in such a big event? Yeah,
you don't really realize the magnitude of it, or at least for me, until you get to something like the final. I was lucky enough to play up in Fulham Holsens. Really, really great energy, really great audience there, and you don't really realize how many people are really watching until you start opening your phone and start scrolling through the stories of how many people have tagged you and actually have been following along. And then the effect sort of comes afterwards, but while you're there, you're really focused on all the billion details that have been prescribed to you.
I can imagine. And I mean, first of all, congratulations to you, Benjamin, because you went all the way and got second place in XFactor. Tanne, your group came fourth, I believe it was, your group Echo. Yes.
Yeah,
so how was the atmosphere? What was it like to be there? Because obviously, you were all together every Friday, singing, hanging out. What was it like?
Well, I mean, people like to say that it was like a competition. Of course, it is. Everyone's our rivals behind the scenes, but we weren't actually. Everyone were really good friends. I mean, I hope so.
No, I hate her.
everyone were really, you know, positive vibes, and we were just hanging out. Everybody was just having fun, and it was really nice to have someone who understood what you were going through when you were on the scene and playing and doing rehearsals and stuff, and you could go up and cry if you were sad or something, and they would understand it.
In that way, it was a really supportive environment. I actually went into like the first time we ever met, sort of like really mentally prepared for this kind of like rivalry that I thought was going to be there, and I was not prepared to like, you know, show all the guitar chops I had or like all the singing chops, just sort of like assert dominance, or like I was prepared for that. I was not prepared for people to be friendly, and I think because of that, I sort of wasn't socially like kind of isolating myself, but I didn't connect to like as strongly to people as I would have hoped for. But luckily, like that, the relationship sort of built on from the first meeting.
Well, that's good. It's good that you aren't just all hating each other. That would,
No.
I think it would be some long days with the rehearsals, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So what would you say that you've kind of like taken away from that experience of X Factor that you might be able to use now in your artistry?
I would say it's a lot of the professionalism and sort of the, like, one thing that I really took away was like, when you mess up, fuck up, whatever, like you don't realize how much of an impact that has on other people until you do it like in an environment like X Factor. And I think once you also sort of realize like you're working with some of Denmark's most talented musicians, scenography people, whatever you want to call it, like you really want to get your shit together as soon as possible. Yeah.
I mean, it was just, for me, it was kind of, I'm not used to like performing and singing, and I didn't really actually know that I could really sing before I went to X Factor. Well, of course, friends and family always like, oh, you're so good at singing, but you know, they have to say that. Yeah. So when we got to the stage and the live performances, I was actually really positively surprised at how comfortable it all was, because I was expecting people to be like, oh, you took the wrong step here, you were looking the wrong way on the camera, and no matter, like, I know I fucked up a lot. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I know I...
We swear on this show all the time, don't worry.
Okay.
Live stream demonetized. Thank you, Tanne.
Yes.
I know I made a lot of mistakes then in the final live show product that was shown on TV as opposed to the rehearsals, and I pointed it all out to the people who were behind the scenes. They were just like, no, it was great, you didn't do anything. Mm-hmm. So it was just really, it's really nice to to go forth, and also the musical part and everything like that, but to be able to stand on the stage and be like, you know what, it's okay.
It's funny that you say that thing about the mistakes, because you really learn how to deal with the mistakes as well.
Yeah.
So it's not like kind of like you get to go home and cry. No, you go home and work your ass off to make sure it doesn't happen again. So I think,
but not because anyone's mad at you, but just because you're like, oh, you know what, I made a mistake and everyone's fine with it. Yeah. So you know what, I'm not going to be fine with it. I'm going to keep going.
But I think getting that mentality is really beneficial to something as large scale as this we're doing now.
It sounds like a great way to also just reflect about the kind of things you're doing on stage.
Absolutely,
yeah. So fast forward a couple months, you get the chance to now perform as a duo and possibly go to Dansk Melodi Grand Prix. How did you two end up together? Were you good friends during the X Factor, or how did you two actually end up becoming a duo?
Well, the thing is, we had played a little bit together because I was in a group, so I focused a lot on the people in the group and not so much on the other people. Of course, I talked to them and I was friends with them and all that, but I never really got the chance to sing with them or experience their professionalism. So I think Benjamin is the only one that I actually sang with behind the scenes on X Factor. So it was always like this thing like, oh, okay, you know what, he can sing the Ed Sheeran songs, but we never actually thought about singing together. Mm-hmm. We never really thought about going together and making a song.
Yeah, and I think also like for me, going into something like X Factor was a lot of fun to sort of meet people with the same kind of musical inspirations as you. And I think Tanne is the only one that I know of there who was like I don't want to say diehard Ed Sheeran fan, but like at least
a little bit.
Yeah, because like I was that 12-year-old kid who just like only listened to Ed Sheeran albums for like a solid year, I think. And because of that, my entire Spotify statistics got messed up, but that's another discussion. But like I came from a place like music school. People had like inspirations like jazz and classical music. I have those guys in my head too, and they're cool, of course. But like it was nice to sort of like not see that kind of music as like a guilty pleasure that I had to do at home.
Yeah, those Spotify end of year playlists, they can really say a lot about a person, can't they?
Yeah, it's so weird. You know how weird it is? Like I found my artist of the decade was Ed Sheeran just because I listened to it. That's just all I listened to for a solid year.
I saw someone who had Echo as their artist of the decade. So.
Ooh.
Oh wow,
that was very nice.
That's cool.
Yes.
So like, what was it about this song that made you think, okay, this is cool, we would like to sing this? What do you like the most about the song?
Mm-hmm. instantly I sort of started comparing it to the song that was written for me for the X Factor final, Worth a Broken Heart. And it was kind of nice to sort of hear it be more in the direction of a party environment than it is sort of like a singer coming on stage and presenting something. Like it really felt a lot more kind of social, interactive with the people that the song would have engaged with. And I think those kind of folky elements also really spoke to the musical roots that I had sort of in my background.
It's sort of, I hope everyone thought that when they heard it the first time, because we certainly did, that Yes is the song that when you hear it, you just get this feeling of like, not to be cliche, but the epitome of the song is we're all in this together, kind of like. It's a song that everyone can sing along, and then at the same time it's a love song, but it's not a I hate you song, it's a breakup song, and it's not a honeymoon song. It's just, you know, a regular song about people who are in love and should just, you know what, live their life.
Yeah.
I think everyone who's grown up with High School Musical can relate to that. We're all in this together mentality. So you've worked with some very talented songwriters, most notably Jimmy Jansen and Linnea Depp, who inside the Eurovision fandom is very known for many of their songs. What's it been like working with these people?
Unfortunately, we haven't gotten the chance to like face-to-face meet with Linnea or
we haven't
Jimmy.
personally met them yet.
Yeah, we met the third songwriter, Emil Lai, who we were lucky enough to have in the studio to produce her single, and like working with him was like such a blast. Like I'd never come out of the studio with like such a kind of like creative high, because like I felt like when I was sat in the studio with him, we were both kind of like two kids in a like a toy store, and we just wanted to like go in all directions, and like it was a lot of fun. And I think creatively they really speak to us. You can say that.
Definitely, it's a very great environment to be in the studio and to be taken so like that seriously. And then also we have never met neither Linnea or Jimmy, but they've both written to us, and we've tagged them in pictures. And we're like, yeah, go on, it's so great. Like they seem quite satisfied.
Very cool.
Oh, that's good. That's really good.
Yeah.
So you took part in the semifinals, the radio semifinals. You were in the Eastern region, and you managed to get all the way through. Did you expect that you were going to be the winners, or were you just happy to be there in the semifinals?
Hey, this kind of thing about like what do you expect is going to happen is for me not really something that I like to think about, because it was the same under X Factor. Like you can't really have any influence on what people are going to do with their phones, what way they're going to swipe. Like people do what they're going to do regardless of what you put out there. So the only thing that you have influence on is like the amount of work that you put into it. Obviously, though, you still kind of like inevitably think about it. That kind of mental toll is like, it's a lot to go through, especially if it's like a whole week-long process.
Yeah, I was feeling really bad at the end. I was very nervous, and I was really like, when they told us we went through, I almost couldn't believe it, because it just didn't seem real. Like I didn't, for the first time in my life, actually think I didn't have a feeling of whether or not I was going to go through or not. Because in X Factor was always like, we know pretty sure we're going to end in the bottom two this time or not, and whatever. And here it was just, I just did not know what to feel. I didn't have and my intuition was not on the right track.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of like having a feeling of like, I sort of try to get myself into the mentality of like, regardless of what happens, you're still going to be able to say that you have a super cool song out there that at least someone is going to
And we could tell
celebrate.
that people loved it, so that was even more comforting. That we could tell how many people were like, wow, this is a great song. And then you didn't focus on whether or not you went through. You were just like, wow, people actually really like the song.
That's I think that's a good way to look at it. But you went through. You're here now, and you're going to be performing on that massive stage in Royal Arena. What's just been? I just want to know, like, what's been the most fun so far? Like getting ready, getting all the preparations for Dansk Melodi Grand Prix.
So because I play like in bands and stuff, it was a lot of fun for me to play with some of the craziest kind of like studio musicians that we're lucky enough to play with on stage in the Royal Arena, the Anton Light Orchestra. Super talented guys. That was a lot of fun. It's really, really like nice to play with a band where you can rely on them and sort of just like lean up against them and just kind of like be an artist without having to like worry about, okay, what is this guy going to do here? Or is he going to mess up the aesthetic? Like it's a really like kind of trusting environment, which you don't get from like the kind of amateur bands that you sometimes play in. They're still fun. They're like their education, but like it's cool to like take the band stuff that I've learned and sort of put that into a professional context.
I mean, I think we haven't really had that many meetings with the whole behind the scenes crew yet, but the ones we have been very professional and very comforting, very open. At the sound check, I was feeling a little bad, and they were someone who I don't even know if I got his name. He just walked up to me and was like, remember to enjoy it. I can tell you're not enjoying it right now. And I was like, you know what? You're right. I should just enjoy it and just sing and not think so much about it, because that's what the song is about. So if I'm not portraying that, how am I supposed to expect people to experience that? So we went back there, and I just want to enjoy it from now on.
Yeah.
I think that's a very good way of looking at it. Now, I mean, of course, we can't get around this question. You are one of the fan favorites on the My Eurovision scoreboard. It's all the way up there, and we had a lot of love for the song on our show when we reviewed all the 10 acts competing this year. We had a panel of 5 or 6 people reviewing the songs, and almost all of us agreed that this was the song to pick. Do you think about this? Do you think about being the favorite, or do you just try to ignore it and just do your own thing?
Not at all. We think about the fact that people like the song, of course, and we love that people are loving it. Also, I saw that live stream, by the way, and I heard you say that you were like, I know Tanne watches these things. I hope she's not going to get mad at what we say, but it was great. I was very happy that you about the review, what you said about it. Yeah. But the thing is, you don't really think about the odds as much. It's more like if people like it or not, and then whether you're number 1 or number 2 or number 3. It's up until the show. To us, it doesn't really matter, because what matters at the end of the day is the show that you deliver and what you perform, because it's all going to come down to that. Because we've seen it happen before where the favorite did not win.
The curse of being the favorite.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
These kind of like odds things. You really got to know what kind of like motivations those guys have. And like, I think if you really focus in on it too much psychologically, the amount that we're going to be working together, like that would just be an extra shit. Because of that, I try to stay away from all that stuff.
Yeah. Clever. I think that's very clever. And finally, regardless of you win or not, do you think you could see yourself working together again in the future, maybe on more music?
I think so.
No.
Never mind. Andrew's overthinking.
No, yes, of course. I think there's me singing with Benjamin. I was in a group before as well, but they were all girls. And I have to say, there is something about singing with a guy who has kind of a raspy voice. Because sometimes I do get surprised at how well our voices melt together when we're doing covers or whatever. And we also made it an acoustic version. Excuse you. We just recently recorded. That's our manager, by the way. I can say that.
Someone trying to steal the spotlight, huh?
Exactly. But we recently recorded an acoustic version of Yes, and I was so happy walking out of there because I realized how well our voices fit together in that particular version of it. And I would like to record more songs with Benjamin because it just fits together so well, but we'll see how it goes, and we'll see whether we have the same vision or not.
And I'm just sort of like, I love pretty much all kind of musical collaborations, be that with like rock bands or folk bands or like even jazz stuff. Like, and I think it's a lot more sort of like intimate when you're working one-to-one, especially when it's with a singer, because like as a guitar player, I can also sort of think like, how do I compliment this person and make her shine? And I think sort of like getting into a mindset like that further on in a musical career is going to be educationally very beneficial. English is hard. It's her first English interview actually, so like I hope it's going well. Yeah, it's going great.
I think your English is great. I mean, I've met plenty of Danish people, of course. It is weird, sitting here, 3 Danish people all talking English together. But it works out, I suppose. It's better than me having to subtitle the whole interview. That would have taken forever. But that's all the questions I had. Finally, if people want to follow you on the social medias, where can they find you?
Oh no, I have a Danish name. That's so annoying. So
oh, I know the feeling. It's
at den rigtige Benjamin. So that's at DEN_RIGITIGE then _ Benjamin.
I would not have understood that.
No,
if I just heard...
I think I'm just gonna edit like it says on the screen.
And mine is just my name, Tanne Amanda.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for speaking to us. It was really lovely that you took your time to do this. And a big thank you to the manager, of course.
Yeah, it's honestly. Thank you so much for talking to us. It was great. Cool. It's very hyggelig, as they say in Danish.
Yes, it was very nice. And as we say in Denmark, knæk og bræk.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.